wishing you a pleasant day. A warm welcome to our guest, Advocate Ishani Sapkar, a dynamic youth icon who has successfully ignited many young minds in the past and continues doing the same. Welcome to our school manager, Sir Anup Vedekar, to our principal, Ma'am Secretary Welker, to commerce in charge, Ma'am Pita Chidi, to my colleagues in the audience and my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this Commerce Day Celebration 2023, aptly titled ARTH, meaning finance. And finance is related to commerce and economics, which imparts the idea of managing money, and economics is incomplete without commerce. Therefore, the title ARTH. Before we could proceed with our program, let me throw light on today's schedule. We have amidst us two prominent personalities who have excelled in their respective fields. Dr. Advocate Ishani Sapkar, who would be handling the first session, and later we have Dr. Manoj Kamath, who will be managing the second session respectively. Today's program is divided into two sessions. In session 1, we have a keynote address by Advocate Ishani Sapkar, who will be enlightening our young minds with his inspiring address titled Believe in You, followed by the Commerce Expo, Felicitation of Commerce Genius, and in the second session, we will be witnessing yet another informative dialogue by Dr. Manoj Kamath. He will edify us on the topic digitalization of trade and commerce. So let's all welcome our keynote speaker, Advocate Ishani Sapkar, with a huge round of applause. Thank you. Light resembles knowledge, and knowledge being the key pillar of history is frequently associated with light. This is perhaps a consequence of our ability to see things when there is light, and seeing is often a first step towards learning and understanding. And today, we are gathered here to celebrate knowledge. Without further ado, I request our dignitaries to kindly step forward and enlighten them with knowledge and give today's event a divine blessing.
Suraj, come in. Take off your shoes. Shoes. Take off your shoes. Slide the lamp.
Prayer is a song of the heart. It delights God's ears. It melts his heart, and therefore God cannot deny a praying soul. To make our day a day to remember, let us seek blessings from the divine through an invocation song, requesting our choir members to enthrall the august gathering with their harmonious voices. teacher, Sharan Madgaonkar, trained by Sir and supported by teacher Richa. Requesting all of you to give a huge round of applause to our teachers. Moving on further, I now request the in charge of Commerce Stream, Ma'am Pooja Churi, to escort our keynote speaker, principal, to the dais and also to occupy her seat. Thank you, ma'am. The stage is all set. I now request our principal, Ma'am Supriya Nidalankar, to formally welcome the authors gathering. Ma'am.
Thank you, Morgan. Respected dates marked by the keynote speaker for this morning, for this much-awaited event, ARTH-2023. I say much-awaited because it was suspended since the last 2 years and we will not get into the details of why. But it's been a long time since we've been waiting for a beautiful display of talent, skills and ideas, exchange of ideas on this platform, which is ARTH-2023, the Commerce Faculty celebration of all that they learn during the class for the entire year. So, we have, like the compere said, a series of events highlighting what is the importance and integrating what is in your curriculum to daily existing commercial life. When we tried to formulate this program and put it together, we could see that there was no other way out than one single objective. And what could that be? Learning by experience. We call that experiential learning. Learning by doing, sharpening your skills, actually practically putting things on paper, working out projects, building ideas. Of course, there is a lot of art and craft side by side that would go, but the objective being the mechanisms, the working of commercial processes. And that is precisely what the institution has been gearing up for when we talk about what is on the threshold in terms of an educational revolution, which is the new education policy. The policy is already rolled out and it's already on the anvil. We just have to get started. And when I say get started, the starting means integrating practicality into theoretical concepts. That's exactly what Purushottam Maharajah High Secondary School has been doing for the last X number of years. We have been integrating this kind of a program, which is we have been building practicals to support theoretical concepts, and it is one-day event, which is not just commerce as an institution. We have it for the arts, we have it for the science, and we have it for the vocational streams. So today is an important event, dear students. It is preparing you for a professional life. As commerce students, you need to get prepared for your professional life, and today you could be getting ideas towards the same. I'm extremely grateful to the keynote speaker, Advocate Sir, for having accepted our invitation for this day-long program. The head of the Commerce Faculty, Pooja Churi, is also present, and I would like to highlight her role in the entire process. Of course, ably supported by each and every member of the staff, because it is subject teachers only who know how to drive this forward. Outside, how many ever ideas that may come in is not going to help. And therefore, the teachers and the students, I hope you realize this, dear students, this day is not just for you to watch what is happening on stage. It's for you to get involved in each and everything. It's for you to get involved, raise questions, a dialogue, and therefore, if there's anything that you are inclined towards, any thought crossing your mind, please interact with the resource persons and maybe share it with the organizers, the teachers, and faculty in charge of the program. I I also appreciate the support of the management that is always there by our side, ably represented by the manager of our school, Shri Anup Prabhu. Thank you, sir, for being with us this morning. An expert in finance, and he is there at all times to share his know-how. Dear students, I hope you have a fruitful session. I hope you make the best of this event, ARTH-2023. There are students of two categories, Standard 11 and Standard 12, right now in the hall. And I'd like to make a sharp distinction between the two. The students of Standard 12, you have new horizons opening for you in a couple of months from now. So you don't have too much time. It's not that I will get my mark sheet and then I will decide. No. You have 1 or 2 months now, and therefore the timing of this program, because if we had had this program in the month of July or August, it would have been washed away. So the timing of this program is also extremely appropriate. As we are stepping out of the school a couple of months from now, you have to start thinking in this direction as well. So I pray and I hope that you have a beautiful session. Wish you all the very best. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am, for words of encouragement. As mentioned earlier, we have in our first session at Ishan Usapkar as a keynote speaker. I'm pretty much sure we all want to know more about sir. Therefore, I request my colleague, Teacher Asha Chari, to introduce the multifaceted personality to the audience. Teacher Asha.
A very good morning to one and all present. It is my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker of today's event. A lawyer by profession, practicing at the High Court and civil and criminal courts across Goa. A trainer by vocation who holds certificate in 12 international courses and one of the top 10 rated trainers from India on the JCI international site. He also holds a world record in training. He has represented India at the Asia Pacific Conference held at Japan, where he was declared to be one of the top 3 speakers. A change maker by mission who has worked extensively for various causes and was the youngest recipient of the State Best Social Worker Award awarded by the Government of Goa. He served as the Zone President of JCI, Secretary of Red Cross, and many other social organizations. He has served the Indian Army as he qualified the SSB and was second in the All India Merit List. He has been awarded the Achievers Award by Sena for his contribution in the legal field. An explorer by passion who holds various interests. He has acted in multiple short films which are well appreciated and can be watched on YouTube. He has undertaken bike rides to distant places like the Statue of Unity at Gujarat. His hobbies include reading, rifle shooting and horse riding. Dear students, put your hands together and welcome a lawyer by profession, a trainer by vocation, a change maker by mission, and an explorer by passion, Advocate Ishan Usapkar. Thank you.
I request Teacher Asha to welcome our guest speaker with the potted plant. Thank you, Teacher Asha. I request our student volunteers to welcome our principal with his spray of flower. To our faculty in charge, Ma'am Pooja Churi. We acknowledge the presence of school manager, Sir Anup Prabhu, and request the student volunteers to kindly welcome Sir with his clear flag. Thank you, students. We are now going to inaugurate the Commerce Expo at the hands of our guest speaker, Advocate Ishana Sapkar. I quote, "Nothing great in this world can ever be accomplished without passion." And the quote stands true. We will be witnessing the same passion for the exhibits prepared by our students. It's going to be a treat to our eyes. We shall now formally inaugurate the exhibition. Though the exhibits are arranged downstairs, we shall have inauguration virtually from this auditorium. Requesting Sir Advocate Ishana Sapkar to inaugurate the exhibition and declare it open.
So with immense pleasure, let me inaugurate ARTH-2023.
Thank you, sir. Requested to maintain silence, please. Thank you. Believing in yourself means you have faith in your abilities. It means that you can do something that is within your ability. To throw more light on this, I request our guest speaker for the day. I request Ma'am Meenakshi to kindly say a few words on the occasion.
Okay, respected keynote speaker of today's program, Advocate Sri Ishana Sapkar, Principal Madam Supriya Nedrawalkar, Manager Shri Anup Prabhu, my colleagues and dear students. As a faculty in charge, once again, I welcome you all for today's annual event ARTH, and I appreciate all those who have participated or who are involved in organizing such a wonderful program. This Commerce Association is conceived under ARTH in the year 2014 to commemorate the meaning of ARTH, that is money, superficially an object of interchange. Inside it is an attractive instrument, but we perceive it as its real value and use it wisely, appropriately and creatively, and we expect our students to understand and practice the same by organizing the events like this and as well as in their day-to-day life. Now under this banner ARTH, we also ensure that the faculty and students are updated in the field of commerce, economics, accountancy, and develop learners that are skilled, knowledgeable, also creative and competitive. We organize various activities, exhibitions, industrial visits, field trips, quizzes, talks by resource persons, certificate courses like Tally, and also financial literacy courses under NSC, and felicitation of toppers, and also career guidance programs. Thus, it is possible for the entire team of commerce, faculty, students, sometimes even the parents, the professionals, and the guest speakers to unite under one umbrella and provide the opportunity to everyone to share their knowledge and learn from each other. Now with this, I congratulate once again all those who are involved in organizing this program, Special thanks to our guest speaker, Advocate Sri Ishan Sakkar. We are privileged to host you, sir, as a speaker, and appreciate your interest in the well-being of our students, especially the youth, because the topic itself speaks. And students, I appeal you, just concentrate, and his guidance will boost your motivation and also self-confidence, and you will be precise in your future course of action for the betterment of your life. Before I take your leave, I also thank our principal, Supriya Netrawalkar, who is always a guiding force behind organizing all such programs. I am also grateful to our management, especially Sri Anup Prabhu Vedekar, who made it convenient to attend this program and always supporting and cooperating with us. Once again, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Extremely sorry, there was an error of side to my side. There was an error of side to my side. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, requesting our guest speaker, Advocate Ishan Sakkar, to kindly take over his session. Sir, the stage is all yours.
Well, I can't hear you back. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Do you have a book and a pen? No. Very good. Not required. See, I'm going to be here with you for exactly 1 hour. And we as lawyers now, we are very precise with our timings. So exactly before 11 a.m., I will conclude whatever I have to. So while I'm here with you for 1 hour, we can interact with each other either in English, if that's comfortable. तुम्हाला जर पाहिजे तो आम्ही मराठीमध्ये बोलू शकतो. तुमका जाय जाल्यार आम्ही कोंकणीन बोलू शकता. आपको अगर चाहिए तो हम लोग हिंदी में बात कर सकते हैं. इतले बता दिए. So which is more comfortable? Mix. Fine. We'll mix it up as and when required. But the purpose of coming over here is for me to interact with you, not for me to talk to you. The difference. And we as lawyers, we have one more problem. We never do anything for free. We never do anything for free. We charge. So at the end of this session, all of you will receive a bill from me if you don't ask me any questions. Session will be free if you ask me questions. Are we clear on that? Yes? Okay. So without any delay, let's get started with what we are here for today. But before I get started, I have a question to ask. Okay, the question is very simple. Question this is a question which people keep asking you, especially all your relatives. They are like more interested. Like, what have you planned next? Have you planned to do something in your life after you complete your 11th, 12th, or probably after you finish your graduation, you finish your postgrad or doctorate or whatever else you planned thereafter? Have you planned or have you thought what you want to become? If yes, raise your hand. I will not ask you what it is. You will not have to elaborate what your plans are. But have you planned? If the answer is a yes, raise your hand. If the answer is a yes, raise your hand. What do I wish to become after I complete whatever education I want? Am I sure I am Saraswati? Yeah, good, wonderful. 1, 2, 3. And now that they are raising, they are here. Okay, wonderful, good. And let's be very honest now. Boys, I think you all can be seated, because then if you all are here, then it's like a wall between me and them. Yeah, you'll be seated. Be comfortable, don't worry. But I'm about to speak. My recordings are running. It's more over here. Fine. So the question again, have you planned what you wish to become? Some of you have raised your hands. Let's be honest now. Let's be very, very honest. I also want to see hands of those who don't have any plans yet. मतलब आगे क्या करना है सोचा ही नहीं है. Have absolutely no idea, and that's perfectly fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Anyone like that? Like in your mind, everyone is like, sir, me. At least majority, sir, me. Fine. Now I'm here to concentrate on two different topics that I will be dealing with. Number one is making a career choice. That's number one. Number two is having good effective communication skills while making these career choices. And not just that, how to have the right set of confidence, how to believe in yourself while all of this happens, no matter what the circumstances around you are. Like again, let me ask a few questions and let me see, or let me test your general knowledge. There was this one gentleman who went on to become extremely famous. If you just look at history and you ask, name some of the smartest people that have ever existed on planet Earth, then probably you will even name that man. But when he was in school, he was literally fired from the school or thrown out, or about to be thrown out from the school because the teachers said he is not able to read or write and probably he is mentally weak. Do you know who I speak of? Absolutely right. It is Sir Albert Einstein. A boy, when he was in school, they thought he was mentally disabled. And look at it later. This particular boy went on to become a man who is remembered by all of us, right? One of the smartest, most intellectual people ever to walk on earth. Let me ask you one more. There is this one gentleman who at a very, very young age was rejected by All India Radio. India. He was rejected by All India Radio because they said he has a nasal voice. You know what's a nasal voice? You speak from the nose. But he went on to become an extremely popular, well-known celebrity. Absolutely right. We are speaking of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Recently during COVID times, whenever you made a call to anybody, somebody spoke back to you, right? Jab tak dawai nahi, tab tak dilai nahi. I mean, I am not a mimicry artist, so don't expect me to match his tone, but at least the wordings. When he said those words, did he tell you that I am Mr. Amitabh Bachchan? But you still understood it's him, right? You still figured out it is this gentleman Amitabh Bachchan. How? Because of his voice. He's made his voice his identity. The same voice because of which he was rejected at a very, very young age. And when he was rejected, if he had given up, do you think today we would have Mr. Amitabh Bachchan with us? Possible? Definitely not. Right? Let me ask you another question then. There is this one man who started a business related to food at a very elderly age. And that particular business did so well that now that business which was started in USA is everywhere around the world, including here in Goa. Yes. Who am I speaking of? The brand is KFC, absolutely right. But who is the gentleman? The Kentucky is a place. The band I'm speaking of. Colonel Sanders. Okay, that old man you see on that entire whatever flyers or logo material they have, right? So this gentleman, he had failed almost 1009 times. He had presented his recipe of that original chicken that is still being sold around. 1009 times rejected. They told him it's very bad, nobody will eat it. That's the kind of thing, that's the kind of passion, right? So what is it that he did? He never gave up, right? Let me take one more. This gentleman discovered 999 methods of how a bulb will not work. This gentleman discovered 999 methods in which a bulb will not work. Who am I talking of? Yes. At the 1000th attempt, almost, he managed to create something that worked, and that was the light bulb. Who is this? Who is this? Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb. Could I have one? Yep. Let me now come down over here in Goa, let's say. So I have this one friend of mine who at least I have known right from my childhood, and I've seen him grown along from my childhood. So somewhere in the year 1999, something very big happened in our country. Any idea what? 1999, something big happened in our country here in India. Kargil War, heard of it? Yes, so India and Pakistan were at loggerheads on the Kargil peaks, and there that was a war. So this boy who I am talking of, he had seen the entire Kargil war unfold on a black and white TV that they had in their house at that time. So he got so inspired and motivated by looking at that, that he made that a dream, that if I have to become something in life, it is becoming an army man. That became the dream, that became the end goal, at least in his mind. So working towards that goal, we were together in the same school. So over there, he came to that school, he shifted from his old school to a new school only so that he can wear an army-like uniform, because the earlier school which he was in did not have NCC. So he came to this school which had NCC, so an army-like uniform. But when he came, and I still remember his face, he was told, sorry, you cannot join NCC because you are too short and you are too thin. He was told. What do you think he must have done? 8th standard. Started crying. So the teachers had some mercy on him and they said, fine, this Saturday we have a running race. If you come first, we will take you. It's a nice way of saying no. It's much like saying, I like you but as a friend. Those who had to get it, got it. But anyways, the Saturday came. He came first also in his running race. He was running as if there were like 10 mad dogs running behind him, both hands outwards. But he finally managed to get through. And then he answered his army entrance exam. He came even second in the All India merit list, qualified, answered, reached over there, was undergoing training, had around 2 months remaining of his training to complete. Just around that time, he had an accident. He fell from almost the 3rd floor. And when he fell and he woke up, he realized he had woken up after 2 days because he landed up in something called as a coma. When he woke up, there was a glass of water on his right hand side. He was thirsty, so he wanted to lift that glass. So when he tried to, he realized that his right hand was not attached to his body. The whole thing had come out. And after that, the doctors told him, your dream of being in the army is something that is not possible anymore. We will be able to fix you. It will take around 2-3 surgeries. But after that, at least you'll not be able to continue in the army anymore. What do you think this person must have done? Do you think he gave up? He did not give up. This person came back to Goa. After coming back to Goa, he completed his law. After completing his law, he became a lawyer. After becoming a lawyer, today morning he woke up and came from home over here so that he can conduct this talk for all of you. Just in case someone did not realize, that's my story. The reason why I share that with you is because it's very easy to tell a lot of examples of people who have become great and say that, they had undergone so many failures and yet they managed to be successful in life. Reason why I can tell you about me is no matter whether I have become successful or not, I am nobody to judge that. But at least I am feeling happy that I am alive. Because at one point in time, I was not even sure of that. Many a times in your journey in life, you will have such kind of doubts, such kind of problems, such kind of setbacks. And that is what life is all about. If a heart is beating correctly, if you are alive, what is the way in which the heartbeats will show on the ECG machine or on the machine in general? What is the way the heartbeats will show? Can you show me on the hands over here? Is it like this? Or is it like this? It's like this, right? exactly the same way in life, you require those ups and those downs. Because if your life is like this, that means it's over. Right? So that's the reason why there are requirements in our life of happy moments as well as sad moments. And I'm sure right now where you are, at which place you are right now in your life, there are obviously going to be a lot of challenges. Like whenever I interact with students and I ask them, what are your problems? I usually hear these. One of the biggest problems I hear is, Sir, काय बरं पळय तेका गाडी बिडी सगळें मेळटा म्हाका कांयच दिना बाबा माझे. That's one common problem I hear. Another common problem I hear is, sir, इतले study करता पण marks सुद्धा दिना teacher. That's another common problem I hear. Then I hear a problem from the boys. Sir, काल पर्यंत म्हाका बरें उलयताले माझ्याकडे आयज उलयता. Then I hear a problem from the girls. काल पर्यंत फक्त माझ्याकडे उलयतालो आयज आनीक सगळ्यांकडे उलयता. But I hear a lot of problems. How many of you over here have problems in your life? Raise your hand. एका सांगचे सुद्धा पडोंक ना 2-3 times. One time I asked, how many of you have a problem in life? Like almost everybody is up there. Well, if you have a problem in your life, let me share something with you. This is my wallet. No, I'm not sharing the wallet. But in my wallet, whether or not I have money or not, whether I have my ID cards or not, whether or not I have my ATM cards or not, there is always one thing which is always there in my wallet. Let me share that with you. There's always this one card which is always there in my wallet. I require someone to come here so that you can just read the content of the card. Anyone? Anyone? Any volunteers? Okay, come. Yeah, just read this out loudly, and this is to be read as heart.
This card is not by me, but it's by my heart, because we are also connected by heart to heart.
Thank you. So that's what the content of this particular card says. This is how it looks like. Sorry. And this is how it looks like from the outside. It's always there in my wallet. Who do you think this card has come to me from, or why do you think I carry it always with me? Who do you think must have given me this card? Any guesses? Huh? Any guesses? Can be loud enough. किसने दिया होगा ये card? I carry it so much. My mom? No, she has put it away. Anybody else? Any other guesses? My wife? My daughter, do I am that old that I already asked? Just got married some months back. Okay, fine. This is given to me by a girl. But a small little girl. Almost, I think in 4th or 5th standard, that kind of a girl. So what happened is, a couple of years back, I had the opportunity of going to the Rashtrapati Bhavan to meet the Honorable President of India. And while I was there with the President, we were a lot of delegates who had come to meet him. And at the end of it all, we had an opportunity of clicking a group photo with the President. Yeah, so over there when we were going, I met this small little girl. And at that point in time, when the photo was being clicked, the last group photo was being clicked, this girl was different from the rest of us. Like, President was sitting here and behind him there were some chairs, with him there were some chairs. We were all wanting to sit there next to him or in that front row so that our photos come nice. President of India, right? Rashtrapati of India, such a big ambience, such a nice hall. The Darbar Hall, which you may have seen on TV and all, where all the big cricketers, big celebrities get appreciated, felicitated, that hall. So we all wanted to sit there, we were hunting for our seat. But this girl, she had come with her own seat. We are like, hum log dhoond rahe hain, seat, kahan hai seat? She came with her own seat because she was on a wheelchair. Okay, she was on a wheelchair. So while going over there, she was struggling with that wheelchair because that Rashtrapati Bhavan is obviously an old building, does not have natural ramps. It's been put now so that people can be using that. So I helped her up, and after that she gave me this as a thank you card. But that's not the reason why it's with me. Later after the program, we were just talking, and while talking, I just asked her, because I could see that pain, I could see that pain in her. So I asked her, small little thing, बेटा तुम्हें तकलीफ नहीं होती? That was my simple question. बेटा तुम्हें तकलीफ नहीं होती? And the answer she gave me is with me today and will probably remain with me forever. She said, सर इस दुनिया में तकलीफ हर किसी को होती है, मेरी सिर्फ दिखती है. You understand the meaning of those words? A small little 5th standard girl who's on a wheelchair right now, struggling out there, has realized the meaning of life, that everybody has a problem. It is just that her problems are visible because she's on a wheelchair. And yet that girl has not given up. If she's not given up, if I didn't give up, if all these people I told you about have not given up, do you think you should give up? Do you think your problems are much bigger than these set of problems? Do you really think so? Definitely not. Right? So what is that first thing that you take back from this session is that you should never give up. So do I get that promise that you will never give up and you always believe in yourself that you can do it? Yes. See, when I was in the army, I fired way too many guns and weapons. So my hearing is a bit low. So can I get a promise that you'll never give up in your lives? Yes. Alright, wonderful. So let me now go ahead with what we are here for, that is believe in you and believe in youth. Now do you all believe that you are young? I don't believe. Your bodies are young, but it doesn't seem like your minds are young yet. Are you young? Yes. Still no. Just like the behind people, yeah, we are young. Front people, like they are young. We are just here. Are you young? Yes. Okay, if you are young and you think you have something in life that you can do, then look at this. It says life and career is like a game. Have you seen this button on a game before? How many of you have played video games first? Raise your hand, let me see that. How many of you have played video games? ये क्या है? कभी देखा भी नहीं है. Like half video games, full video game. Okay. Anyways, whether you played video games or not, but I'm sure you at least seen TV, operated a radio or something or the other like that, and see a button like this. What is that button? Play, right? Start, play, right? Now in life also there is a play button. You know what is that play button? The day you are born. That's your play button. Like, did you have a choice when you would be born? Any of you gave an application to God, like these parents are really, really nice, I want to be born in their house. Anyone like that? Like, त्यांचे घर बरेच खुलाक टेक्नो तसा थंयच जातो. Anyone like that? No, right? I mean, you were just born somewhere or the other, wherever, in whatever circumstances, we were just born. That was your play button, which was not in our hands. However, thereafter, there will be one more button coming in our life. What is this? Is this pause? Then what is this then? This is pause. What is the last thing? Stop. Right? Hold or stop button. Now, in life, will there be a stop button? Someday, yes. We have to say tata, bye-bye to everybody and go wherever. I don't know. Somewhere. But definitely not be around over here. When that time comes, is it really a choice? It just happens. It's supposed to happen someday, it will happen. What is life then? Life is the space between these 2 points, right? Between your birth and your death. Right or no? And birth and death are 2 points which you cannot decide how it will be. It will just be the way it should. What you have in between is very, very important though. That is your life itself. Like in English, we say A, B, C, D. Life also is like that. Wherein B is birth, D is death. In between there is another alphabet. That is C. And that is what life is. C for choice. Life is all about choices. Whether or not you will go that day to the school or not is a choice. After going to school, whether you will actually study or not is a choice. After studying, whether you will use it somewhere in life or not is again a choice. After using it somewhere, whether you will become successful or you will just sleep every day at home is again a choice. After you be successful, whether you will be full of ego or whether you will take care of the world around you is again a choice. After becoming something in life, whether you just do for yourself or you do for everybody around you is again a choice. So what is life then? Just choices, right? If you make the right choices, you'll probably be where you are supposed to be. Somewhere in a good place. So that's your life in between. And then there is this button called the pause button. Should there be pause buttons in life? I put that question to all of you. Should there be pause buttons in life? Yes or no? All those who say yes, please raise your hand. Should there be pauses in life? All those who say yes, raise your hand. You can raise your hand. Yeah, no problem. One. Raise properly. Don't worry, I am not going to pull you or something, or nobody else is going to pull you over here. Good, good. How many of you think there should not be a pause button in your life? Raise your hand. And those of you who did not raise your hands both the times, please raise both your legs. Start doing yoga. Because blood is not reaching the right places. Yeah, so that is required. But anyways, the pause button. My friends, let me ask you this. Let's say you are playing a video game which is using a battery. And after playing the game for some time, you press the pause button. Will the battery stop draining because you press the pause button? Or will the battery continue draining? It will continue draining, right? Life is same. If you press the pause button in your life, does not mean your life will get extended by 2 years, 3 years. Your life will still come to an end when it is supposed to come to an end. Right? Let me explain to you what is pause in life. Let me take your context. Pause is some students after completing their 12th will first join commerce stream for graduation because everybody else is doing so. Somebody will join BBA because my parents say so. Somebody will join BBA because my friends are going there. After doing for some time, you'll realize, arey, this is not something that makes me happy. So you leave that, you join somewhere else. Or when people start working, first, the salary bari hai sir, join. After 10 days, you realize this is not something that makes me happy. Go somewhere else. And because of which, what happens is, your life lastly circulates there and there itself. What should have taken you 3 years will take you 10 years. That is pause in life. Do you think such kind of pauses are good? If these pauses are not supposed to be there in your life, then what should happen? You should be clear where you want to go, right or wrong. If you don't know where you want to go, will you never reach there? Like let us say I give you a good car. You have a license. You have the car key. You have petrol or diesel, whatever, filled up in that particular vehicle. And I tell you, go. Where will you go? Where will you go? Bazaran Garakade. Whereas if I tell you, go to Panjam at so and so place and that is where you will get something. You have the destination in your mind. Will you then not reach the right place? Rather than me just telling you go. Right? So please make sure that in your life there are no pauses. Right? If you've not yet started planning of what next, let me help you in my next slide of what next. Let me at least try to it. Fine? And then there is this button. What is this button? Restart or reset, right? In life, is there a reset button? Like, how many of you think that if I let you go back to first standard right now and answer your first standard exam again, you will get much more marks than what you had got when you were earlier there in first standard? How many of you think so? All of us, right? All of us. But is it possible? Is it possible? First and foremost, when you go there, those kids will call you uncle or auntie. There only you will be like half dead. But yeah, that's not possible. You can't reverse your time. You can't go back to somewhere where you came from. Right? At least in life, time does not take you back. So there is no reset button in your life, and that's the reason why you have to be very, very careful with these things, because using even the pause button is not going to extend your life. And restart is something that is not at all possible in real life. Have a look at this. Do you know what is this game? What is this? I can't hear you. What is this? Mario. Super Mario or Mario game, right? Now in this particular game, this man was falling down, or this character which is falling down, had how many lives? 3. 3 lives. How many do you have? You sure? Yes. So if you have just 1 life, then you must do everything in that 1 life, right? Now during my introduction, I don't know if you heard it, but one of the things told about me is that I have done bike rides to very distant places. Now when I had to quit the army and I had to come back, my doctor had told me, you are never ever supposed to ride a bike in your life. Then I sent him a selfie when I was in Gujarat. Of course, after making sure that the body was back in place. A lot of times people will tell you it's not possible. A lot of times you will think, मेरे पास time ही नहीं है. How many of you give this excuse? I don't have time. Raise hands. How many of you? I don't get time, I don't have time. Come on, be honest. Let me see. How many of you have at least once in your life? Okay, let's make it that way. At least once in your life you have said this to somebody or the other, I don't have time. Very good. Raise. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Hands down. अजून कॉलेज सुद्धा सोंपोंक ना आता time. Imagine when you become our age and go forward in life. What next? You know, now I've come over here in the morning. Let me just tell you my schedule for today. I have come here in the morning for conducting this session with all of you because I love doing it. I love interacting with the young minds. After completing this, exactly at 11:30 a.m., I have one more session happening at People's High School in Panjim. After that, at 2:30 p.m., I have a matter listed in the court. After that, at 5:30 p.m., I have client appointments in my office. After completing that, at 7 p.m., I am supposed to be a special invitee at a program in Sangam. Thereafter, at 9:30 p.m., I am supposed to be a chief guest for a function, inaugural in Tivim. And thereafter, my friend is performing in a play which is supposed to start at 10:30 in the night at Pirna. And after all of that, I have to return back to my house where my newly wedded wife is waiting for me. With a lot of questions, but she understands. You know, that's my schedule right now. Am I compromising on what I want to do? Am I compromising either on my work or on my clients or my passion? I'm not. But I could very easily say today when ma'am called me and told me 9:30 a.m. इतले सकाळी उठचे पडता. No, that's not how life is working. When you become old, will you get a trophy or a certificate or an award or a memory for the number of hours you slept in a day? Congratulations, you've slept for 12 hours every day in your life. Certificate of appreciation. Anyone like that will give you? Or will you be remembered for the things that you did when the world was asleep but you did something different? You'll be remembered for that, right? And what are you right now? Just a student? If yes, and the answer to that is a yes, then I'm very, very sad. And I'm saying that very open. I'm sad. You are here in college or you are here in the high secondary somewhere between early morning hours till around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, right? Sometimes maybe a bit more extended. What next? What after that? Watching the TV, Netflix, mobile gaming, that's it. But is that all that life can give you? See, it's not always about getting something. It's sometimes also about giving something. And when I say giving something, does not mean giving money to people. That's not important. Can we do something very simple? In your localities or in your surroundings, can you identify one small little child who's probably in primary or something, probably coming from a background that they cannot afford a tuition, but you know that boy or that girl is someone who you can at least teach something as simple as ABC. And if you do that for that small little child, you'll become very, very happy when that child automatically does or learns things on his own. Do you think that will make you happy in life? By doing something like that? How many of you would like to do it? Raise your hand. Would like to do it. Good. How many of you have done it already? Good. Very nice. Can we please clap for those who have at least done it? Wonderful. Those who have not yet done it, try it. Achha lagta. It's nice. Give some meaning and purpose to your life. It will make you feel much better. Because please remember, you do not have 3 lives. You have to live life before life leaves. Right? So try and do something a bit more than what you are currently originally doing. What is this that you see on the screen? A Rubik Cube, right? How many of you have played with this before or have seen this or used this before? Raise your hands, let me see. Very nice. How many colors does this have? How many colors does this have? 6 colors. How many sides does this have? Obviously, 6 colors means 6 sides. You know, in life also, there are 6 different things that are expected to be taken care of for you to say that your life is successful. Do you want to know about these 6 things? I can't hear you. Yes? Yes. Alright, wonderful. So let's get started. Now these 6 things, if you keep in your mind, choosing a profession or choosing a career option is much more simpler. Let's go one at a time. Number 1, you should like what you are doing. Do you think this is important? Liking what you do? Yes? Like let's say, if I did not like being a lawyer, would you think that I would really appreciate going inside the court? Do you think that would make me happy? Have you seen people on every Monday, they complain? Have you seen such kind of people? Yes. Why do they complain? Because they don't like what they are. They feel trapped in whichever place they are. So number 1, you should like what you are doing. So you need to figure out what is it that you like in the first place. That's point A. The next one, you should also be good at it. Like let's say I like playing cricket. I love playing cricket. And I play currently cricket with my friends. But every time I play with them, for the last 7-8 years that I have been playing with them, my highest score is 15 runs. And whenever I do bowling, I give minimum 30 runs per over. But I want to become cricketer. I want to play for the Indian national team or at least for IPL. In IPL at least for Bangalore. They never win, so at least. But do you think at least they will take me? Not possible, right? Why? I like it, but I'm not good at it. So what is it that I must do? I must at least try to be good at it. Probably join some classes or join some coaching, something or the other, and try and make myself good at it. So 2 important things. Number 1, you should like it. Number 2, you should be good at it. Are these 2 things important? Yes. But are these the only important things? No. There are a few more things. Like let us say you are working in a wonderful company. You like what you are doing. You are very good at it. At the end of every month, your boss gives you a paper on which he writes, you are an excellent employee. Tick. On a piece of paper. Every month. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 year. Paisa nahi, sirf paper. Can you use that paper to buy food? My sir says I am very good employee of the month. But no money. Useful? No, right? Artha is important, no? What is Arth? Money. Artha Shastra, right? Given by this gentleman who is here in the Rangoli. Also, Arth otherwise in Marathi or in Konkani, I think that also implies meaning. Yeah, that also implies meaning. But yeah, money is an important factor, yes or no? It is. There are a lot of people out there who say money is not important in life. But before saying that, they have sufficient bank balance. That is not a dialogue you can say with nothing with you, because at the end of it all, your food, clothing and shelter comes from this money only. How to earn the money, that is important. Right? So money is the third important point, that whatever you are doing, whatever you are choosing as a matter of profession, needs to generate revenue, needs to generate money. Now, I love conducting talks, but can I make this a profession? Not really, because I don't charge for doing this. And if I don't charge for doing this, at the end of the month, I will then have nothing. So my profession is a lawyer. This what I do is a matter of passion. Like a lot of you may be very interested in singing. Whether to take up singing professionally or not is a big question mark. Unless you think that that itself can become your profession. And you have already understood how it can be your profession. Other than that, you will have to keep it as a passion. Right? So that's third point, money. Now, let me give you an example. Let us say I like opening doors. And I am very good at it. I am so good at opening doors that I don't even need a key to open the door. See, all three things are there. Number one, I like opening doors. Number two, I am very good at it. So every night when the world is asleep, I awaken, go to my nearest bank, not even to the ATM. I go to my nearest bank, open the door, go inside, take money, and go back home. So have I chosen a good profession? All three things are there. I like doing it, I'm good at it, and it gives me money. Three things accomplished. Good thing, not a good thing. Like whenever, let's say after some years when you have children, your other friends of your children will ask, Papa kide karta re na, to ratso chori. Sounds good? Obviously not, right? So there is a fourth essential. After like, after being good at it, after generating money, the fourth one is it should give you respect. Right or wrong? Do you think respect is important? Would you also not like someday you being invited over here as a respected guest? You also being introduced over here, your own teachers or your own management welcoming you with a flower or a bouquet? How will that come? By earning respect, right? And when you have respect and money, these two things have to be balanced very, very carefully. There are a lot of situations which will come in your lives where you have to choose and balance between money and respect. Like if you ask me, which is the biggest salary you have received till date, or which is the biggest payment you have received till date? Anyone wants to know? Yes? Okay, let me share. I'm only sharing the story, not the salary. Okay, so what happened is we handled a lot of matters, including even divorce matters. So there was this husband and wife who came together to our office. They wanted a divorce by mutual consent. So they came in and we were having our discussions. I was taking down my notes. And after that, after some time, a small little child walks into my cabin. And I asked him, is this yours? And they're like, yeah, that's our daughter. Like, okay, have you all decided after your divorce what you want to do with the daughter? Both of them looked at each other, then looked at me, then looked at the daughter, then looked at each other. This went on for 2 minutes. That is when I realized that they had absolutely not thought of what is to be done with the child. And also after listening to them for some time, I realized that the problems that they have are not really problems, it's just some misunderstandings. Now that is where I had a choice. I had 2 choices. Choice A, go ahead and do the formalities for the divorce. That's where I will get money. Or choice 2, try and see if something can be worked out, some kind of a settlement can be worked out and things can go back to where they were in a good way. In which obviously I would not end up with a divorce case, so obviously no money. But anyways, looking at the child and the circumstances, we decided to give it a try. We tried for around 3 months. At the end of those 3 months, finally everything got sorted and the family got back together and they happily said thank you and went. I was only paid a thank you, nothing more than that. But then comes the salary. Then comes the payment due. After approximately, I think around 6 months later, I was sitting with my friends in Panjim and Gastronet. There's a place there. So we were sitting there, we were having a cup of coffee, and usually that place, on every table, they keep a flower, like planted in a small little pot kind of. So they keep a flower there. So all of a sudden a small little girl comes to our table, gives me a flower and says, "Thank you for giving my parents." And I'm wondering, who did I find where? And I look back to where this child goes back and go to see she returns to the table where these same husband and wife were sitting. That flower is the biggest payment or the biggest salary I have received till date. If I had done their divorce, this would not have happened. But I would have earned more. Sometimes in your lives also, you will come across certain situations like this, where you have to prioritize some other things over money. But that's required. Okay? So that's your 4th essential, that is respect. Then comes point number 5, very, very important, is your family. Do you think while choosing a profession, you should keep your family in your mind? Yes or no? Yes. Why? Why? And who is part of your family? Well, currently it's your parents, currently it's your brothers and your sisters, your siblings. Later in the future, it will be your husband or your wife, your children probably. All of that will be a part of your life, right? Now, is your family important while choosing a career option? Let me share one story with you, a real life story. So there is this friend of mine who was working in Mumbai, and he was working in a very, very high profile company and a very high profile job, earning really good salary. He was here from Goa otherwise, but went there to Mumbai so that he could work. And his work timings were like 9 a.m. to almost 9 p.m. And he was a workaholic, so even on a Saturday, Sunday, all holidays, he used to love working. And because he was traveling via train, so early morning he used to leave from home by around 6:37. Because he had to change like 2 trains from Bandra to Vasai and all those things. And then by the time he reached back home, it was almost like 10:30, 11 in the night. So he got married. After marriage, around 1.5 years later, he realized or he came to know that his wife is due. After that, the wife delivered around 2 years down the marriage lines. When the wife delivered, at that time he took 1 week of leave. So he was there for his wife during that time. After that, he worked, so that he could take his wife and his small little child to a beautiful international destination. After 1 year, he took a leave again for 1 day so that he could celebrate his child's first birthday. And that day, he came with a cake for his child. The child looked at him and asked him, "Who are you?" Real story. When he was telling me this, he was literally crying. Now, the man has earned respect. The man has earned money. He was doing what he likes. So like is there, good is there, money is there, respect is there. All these 4 things. What is missing? The family, right? The love from the family itself. Do you think you would call this kind of a person successful? Do you think this kind of a man is happy? Absolutely not. Right? So what is the fifth thing that is important? It is family. And then comes the last thing, number 6. Thing number 6 is ultimate and something that you must do something about at all points in time, and that is yourself. Do you think you yourself is an important factor while deciding your career? What I mean by you yourself is, we as human beings, we are supposed to evolve continuously, right? Like, did you start running the day you were born? Yeah? Or did you start talking the day you were born? It happened gradually, right? At one point in time, you learned to stand, then you learned to walk, then you learned to run. But today, if I put you in Olympics, will you reach when the rest of them are reaching? Will we at least come in the first top 3? Why not? Are we not same like the other man who's winning the gold medal? What is different between us and them? Practice, right? Or probably the right kind of training. So had we put ourselves through a similar regime, we may not have achieved what they did, but at least we would have been much better in that particular part of things, right? Now, a lot of times, a lot of people do this mistake. They think once they have reached somewhere, they have achieved it. But let me ask you this. What is the age where you should stop learning? Is it 40, 50, 60, 70, 80? Or now when you all are 18, 19, 20? Like graduation over, everything over, like done, sorted. No more learning. Is it? Learning is a continuous process, right? You have to keep learning till the day you are alive. You have to keep learning. You have to keep evolving. Now that last thing, yourself, is about learning, is about making yourself a better version of you at every point in time. And in doing so, never compare yourself with the others. Because their body, their mind and their setup is different from yours. For obvious reasons. Right? So that is very, very essential. Yourself. So these are the 6 most important factors which are important while choosing a career. Can you tell me what are the 6? Number 1? Shout. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1 is you should like doing it or you should love doing it, right? Number 2 is you should be good at it. Number 3, respect and money, right? Or money is 3 and respect is 4. 5 and 6, family and yourself. When all these 6 different factors come together in the right manner, that is when you can say that you have chosen or you have taken the right career path. Do you agree? Yes? So that is what we expect from you, and while doing so, let me share this with you. Can I have 4 volunteers over here who know to play football? Can I have 4 volunteers over here who know to play football? Nobody knows? Nobody knows? I am judging you guys. I am literally judging you. Nobody knows to play football? Okay. 4 people who have seen football. Let's make it simple. Okay. 2 girls and 2 boys. Let's make it more simple. Come on, 2 girls and 2 boys who have seen football. Who have seen football. Come, any two. Come, any two. Nobody. Are you want to come? Come. Okay, so we have 2 boys. 2 girls, please. 2 girls. 4. The first seat. and madam, you come this side. So this is one team and this is the other team. Fine. Okay, and I have an imaginary football. Fine, I have an imaginary football. Chalo, like this. I have an imaginary football. So I'm going to place it here and I want both these teams to play football. And then I want all of you to decide which out of these two teams have won the game. Right? Chalo. So I'm keeping the ball. The moment I keep the ball, the game is ready. And the game is starting. Right? 3, 2, 1. Chalo, start. Start. Ball is there. Start. Chanakya also is looking at you and wondering why you are not playing play. Okay, very good. Some more. Good on. Okay, anyways, good job guys. Can you please clap for them? Alright, which team won? Which one? This side or this side? Right or left? What was the score? What was the score? 0-0. Where is the goal post? There is no goal post. Well friends, this is what we do in our real lives also. We have a ball, we pass the ball, we shoot the ball, we run with all energy without even knowing where to shoot it. Like you are there, you are alive in life, but you don't know where to go in life. And this is what happens. You assume and presume that you have won, but there is no goalpost only where you are going to shoot. See, it's very important that for you to score a goal, you must set a goal. Right or wrong? Yes? To score a goal, you must set a goal. If you do not have a goal set, you cannot score it. You cannot achieve it. As simple as that. So can I expect all of you, after listening to what we have done over here today, after understanding what we have done here today, after understanding those 6 parameters which are otherwise supposed to be important, choosing points for you to choose the right career option, do I expect at least half of you to go back home and sit and think and try and deduce of what you want to do next? Can I get that? How many of you after going back home will at least sit for some time and think what you want to become? Can I see your hand? Okay, wonderful. My payment is this. So that is what we expect from you friends, that you will set yourself a goal so that at the end of it all, that particular goal can be achieved. So when I move towards the end, I have a question for you. And my question for you is, do you have any questions for me? Do we have any questions? See, I've told you my conditions in advance. This session is a paid session. All of you will receive a bill if you don't ask questions. So at least a minimum of 2 questions are required so that I consider this to be a free session. Yeah, so let's go ahead and have some questions. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, feeling shy or feeling that I should not be the first person? Anyone like that? Okay, then let me ask you a question first. If you know the answer, I want you to say the answer loudly. Okay, everybody can say it together, no need of raising a hand or anything else like that. You can directly shout the answer. The question is, who was the first Prime Minister of India? Wonderful. Who was the second Prime Minister of India? Third Prime Minister of India? Fourth? 12th Prime Minister of India? Okay, one more question. So, let's see how many at least can answer this one. Who was the first man to land on moon? Second man? Cameraman. Third person to land on moon? Cameraman's assistant. Okay. Chalo, 5th man to land on moon. Fifth. Assistant la. Fifth man, anyone? No. Okay, see, it's very simple. We usually remember only the first. Second, very few people remember. Third, nobody remembers. By the time you come to fifth and sixth, it's gone. Out. Whenever you get an opportunity, friends, grab the opportunity. Tomorrow when you complete this educational line of yours and when you're out there in your professional line, we have a few professional achievers over here who have been ex-students of this institution, who have been here just like you are, who have been students of this institution. They did not become successful just like that. They had to take initiatives. They had to take the lead. They had to become first at whatever they did, or at least an attempt to be there, right? And right now, if you are still laid back, still relaxed, then unfortunately, it will not always work for you. You have to be a bit more pushy. You have to take that initiatives, right? Chalo, now I come to my question. Do you have any questions? Because as I promised, I will conclude before 11 a.m. It's exactly 3 minutes for 11 and I have 3 more minutes. So questions? Questions. Okay, then in that case, I will leave it open to even the faculty team. If they have any questions, they can also ask and I'll be more than happy to answer. Usually when it comes to lawyers, we don't answer questions for free. I hope you all know that. Here you are not being charged for questions. Fine, any questions? At least one? No questions? Okay, so seeing that you do not have any questions, I assume and presume that you've understood everything that we had to put forth to you. And I think that is an achievement, not for me, but for your faculty team who has probably guided you, motivated you, trained you so well that you are all here in today's time and age and you are able to understand everything. So compliments to all of you. I will just conclude with this one simple aspect of life. As I said earlier, life is all about choices. It's about what you choose. Because in life, there are two important points. You have B for birth and you have D for death. Life is actually what is in between the space that you call life itself. What you do in life, how you go about with your life, it's all a matter of choice. And you can make a choice either to be victorious in your life or just cut through your life like a scissor, because ultimately you are the creator of your own future. I hope and pray that all of you create a great, wonderful future. And in this, at any given point in time, if at all you feel low, then remember the stories that we spoke of at the very beginning. Remember of that card which I explained to you about. And thereafter make your choices based on that Rubik's Cube method so that you make the right choices and reach the right places. Thank you very much for having invited me over here and giving me this opportunity of interacting with all of you. I hope you had a wonderful morning session, and I'm sure now Dr. Manoj is here, so he will interact with all of you and make it even better. Thank you. God bless you. Jai Hind. Jai Hind.
I request the in-charge of Commerce faculty, Ma'am Pooja Chudi, to escort our guest speaker, Dr. Kamath, and our principal, Ma'am Zubia Nitravalkar, to the days and also to occupy the seat. Kindly welcome, sir, and indeed the huge round of applause. Is a well-known personality, especially in the field of education in the state of Goa. A prolific writer of many books and a great orator, his expertise in the field of commerce is remarkable. To know more about Dr. Kamath, I request my colleague, Mrs. Kalpana Shanba, to introduce the guest to the audience.
Namaskar and good morning, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce introduce our guest speaker today, who will speak to us about digitization of trade and commerce. This is a subject we all must be deeply interested in, because digitization increases the scale, scope, and speed of trade, and this, as we all know, is the pressing priority of today's industry. Our guest speaker has a rich teaching experience of over 19 years. He was the former professor of Sri Damodar College, Marga. He is also an expert faculty at premium institutes such as Goa Institute of Management and Goa University. Sir is an author and also a regular columnist in the print media. Sir has held several prestigious posts, which include Chairman of Goa Commerce Association, Education Committee of Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Coordinator of Goa Rusukonia Games 2013, Advisor to Goa Industrial Development Corporation, Government of Goa, and currently the Honorable Trustee of Gurukul Academy, a Ponda-based CBSE school. Some of Sir's outstanding academic achievements include the first rank and gold medal at MCOM examinations from Goa University, a postdoctoral fellowship in the subject of economic analysis and policy by Osmania University, Hyderabad, PhD from IIT Mumbai, post-graduation in business administration from Central University, Pondicherry, teacher fellowship in management from Indian Institute of Management, Indore, and Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. Sir is a recognized research guide and currently guiding 5 PhD students. He has published around 60 research papers and completed 4 research projects. Presently, Sir is associated on editorial boards of 7 academic journals. In recognition to Sir's extraordinary achievements in the field of education, youth empowerment, and selfless social service, Sir has been conferred with numerous awards such as Best Business Enabler of the Year in 2016, Best Columnist of the Year 2018, Bharat Excellence National Award, Indo-Global National Leadership Award, National Youth Empowerment Award, and Best Research Paper Awards and gold medals at national level for his research work. Currently, Sir is the principal of Sri Mallikarjun College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Kathmandu. Dear students, these are some of the accomplishments of a highly resourceful person who has an expertise in the field of commerce. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the guest speaker for today, Dr. Sri Manoj Kawant.
I request Teacher Kalpana to kindly welcome our guest with a potted plant. Thank you, Mr. Kalpana. I request our principal to say a few words on the occasion.
Thank you, Bhavin. Requesting the students to settle in and get ready for a very important session. If I may take off and give you a brief synopsis of what has happened since morning. We had a beautiful inaugural, and the session that followed by our advocate Ishan Satkar was all about, it was not at his end, it was getting you to start thinking. Would you agree with me? Right? And the clock is ticking, so you would have to start thinking from this 0 hour starting now. And once your mind is in a very receptive mode, the conditions that he placed before you, he strategized the whole thing for you, and he's told you that when it comes to choice or decision making, now what should be the sequence of events. That having been said, now we are looking at one very crucial, important aspect for each of you, dear commerce students, which is if you're going to take up careers, professions related to your faculty, then what is happening in the world right now? What is happening in the country right now? Settle in, dear students, the ones at the last. Thank you. We are talking about, in terms of finance, in terms of commerce and progression in that direction. When I look at it and link it to the education, like I just said a couple of minutes before, there is absolutely no exposure up to standard 10 in commerce education. Would you agree with me? It's only when you step into 11th standard that you're learning accounting, business studies, economics, and things like that. So until 1.5 years ago, you were absolutely in the dark when it came to these kind of subjects. Now you have some fair idea of what the subjects and the information that is transacted over there. And now since morning we are telling you, take a decision, make a choice, and now jump ahead. Quite a tough job, I think, right? With just 1.5 years of familiarization with the content of what you have been learning, how can one expect you to look forward and make a choice and come on now, this is your path and move ahead? I'm sure you're still shivering and shaking. And if you look at what is happening, outside in the financial world, there has been a 360 degrees change in finance and trade and commerce. COVID has turned things even double speed. And we've gone online, e-commerce, and like the title of today's session, digitalization of the commercial world. Are you prepared for that? Are you ready to take on responsibilities for that? And now coming back to the very sad comment that I'd like to make, the textbooks from which you're learning and what you've been learning for the last 1.5 years have been printed in 1995. So what you're learning in the classroom was printed in the textbook and the textbook is out for study as syllabus 1995. We are in 2022. So now, sessions like these, from morning and from now, are trying to bridge the gap between the world outside and the classroom inside. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Right? And therefore, pay attention to this session. That is the objective of this session that is coming in. And now get started thinking. Respected guests, Dr. Manoj Kawat, we are happy to have you with us yet another time after having been here a couple of times before. Dr. Sir, your shared sessions are a treat for the mind, the heart, the soul, and language, literary skills. Your content in commerce is outstanding, sir, and your contribution in that direction, I think, has touched all avenues. Students, you have to start reading newspapers now and look up for Dr. Kamat's articles, which come very frequently, very often. Faculty in charge of the commerce stream, Veena, Julie, I think you've been doing a wonderful, excellent job steering the entire process, not just today for this event, but right through the years down the line. And appreciate all your effort in this regard, because as you all know, teacher Veena Julie will be retiring in the month of March. She will not be there with us. So we will not have each on for another ARTH-2024. And I'd like to place on record our sincere appreciation for all that you've done. Don't be scared of your own exams. Accountancy will all be taken care of. Don't worry. Okay? We also have, it's not just words that we are saying, but we also have on record 9 outstanding students of this institution sitting in the front rows here today. They were once upon a time like you in the midst of a crowd. These students, by their effort, their concentration, by strategizing and deciding where, how, what, and they have chalked their path and they are in extremely successful professional positions today. It's an honor for us to have you with us today, and we'd like to place on record and appreciate all your effort and your outstanding achievement, and thank you for accepting our invitation and taking time off your very, very, very busy schedules today. Thank you so much for being here with us today, because you are the role models for the students. How much ever we may share on slide and screen, you are living examples for our students. And we believe in you more than text and slides. So dear students, you watch and hear what they have to say, and accordingly, since they are from the commerce faculty and the commerce team, they might share a few guiding tips with you. So once again, wishing you all a very fruitful session and a fruitful day ahead. Don't forget, the Commerce Faculty Exhibition, the Expo, is something outstanding as well. You need to put your mind to each and every exhibit that is on display there as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. When we move on to the next segment of today's event, the felicitation of Commerce outstanding students from the past. This year, the Commerce Department decided to acknowledge our past students who have excelled in their professional lives, thereby attaining greater heights and pride, not only to themselves, but also their alma mater. We are indeed proud of you all. I now request teacher Pooja Chili to kindly take over this segment.
Thank you, Mommy. Honorable guest speaker of today's program, Dr. Manoj Kamath, Principal Supriya Negravekar, my colleagues and dear students of commerce from our high secondary school, and my dear students. A good day to all of you. Today I feel very privileged and honored to stand before you to acknowledge the achievements of our ex-students who have made us proud by performing the best in their school level, college level, as well as professional level. We feel delighted to be the part of their lives, these successful personalities. We are not here just to celebrate the success of these students, but also to give due regard to our school values and morals, which these felicities exemplify, like discipline, compassion, and zeal for learning. All our first standard students, now all of you are present here, and I expect you all get motivated from this. Dear students, you learn, you take the ideas from them and study hard to get success for your bright future. To felicitate our commerce genius, we are privileged to have with us multifaceted personality Dr. Manoj Kamath, whose work has been an agent of a social change, a prolific writer who have ignited minds in every, who has ignited every heart that dares to dream. Sir, I request you to do the honors as and when they come here, and I request you all, felicities present here, to come and accept the honor whenever your names are called. Let me begin with the first one. A student of 1994 batch of our high secondary school, born and brought up in the village Tharagad in Pedne Taluka, completed his chartered accountancy course in the year 2001. He is the first student of our high secondary school to clear CA exam. He is the trendsetter, currently working as a director of finance in multinational company Vaccine Pharma Private Limited, Vaina, Goa. A regular cricket player of his village and participates in social and religious activities, sing bhajans, acts in dramas, and provided employment to many deserving youths whenever recommended. I request all of you to please give a round of applause to Chartered Accountant Vijayan Malveda. The student of 1994 batch of higher secondary school, sincere and down-to-earth person, outstanding drama artist, and won an award for his outstanding performance in Kala Academy competitions when our school participated. Cleared his CA exam in the year 2009, has 20 years work experience in multinational companies, traveled different parts of the world. At present associated with German JV multinational company, Schiffer and Mrs. India Private Limited. Verna, as a Chief Finance Officer, he is a treasurer of Verna Industrial Association. Work closely with Chief Minister's Office on social projects creating employment. Give a round of applause to CA Ganpat Kapdi. The student of 1998 batch of our high secondary school, born and brought up at Khorli, Mapsa, completed his CA exam in the first attempt, that is in the year 2005. And DISA, that is Diploma in Information System Audit, in the year 2014 at the first attempt. Very rare, and hats off to him. As a student, he was very bright and sharp. He was a cricket player, played for Goa's state cricket team, and proved wrong that sports and studies cannot go hand in hand. Okay? So he worked for 8 years with Vedanta Group, which 3 years he was deputy in Liberia, South Africa as a project finance head. Business controller for iron ore business of Enarka Limited. Worked for 2 years with POSCO Steel, Korea in Pune. Now practicing chartered accountant. His areas of work include due diligence, indirect taxes, direct taxes compliance. Acquired all computer skills required for his profession. Give a big round of applause to CA Gautam Narayana. The student of 2003 batch of a high secondary school. One should learn from her. I just quote, don't give up. All your hard work will pay off soon. Stick with what you are doing, no matter how hard it goes. So I appreciate her patience, cleared her CA exam in the year 2013, completed her articleship with Arvind Netulkar, worked with CA Yatish Verenikar. She was an accounts manager in Eclipse Infotech India Services Limited, also associated with Protract Club. Give a big round of applause to CA Prarthana Kakurkar, now Kakurkar. The student of 2004 batch of a high secondary school stood third in Goa in plus standard board examination. I remember him as a student with a sharp mind and a strong urge to explore, discover and grow. He was awarded gold medal for scoring highest marks in accountancy for BCom. Cleared his CA in the year November 2010 and practicing CA since then, specializing in income tax, GST and management consultancy. Elected to Managing Committee of Goa Branch, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the term 2022-25, presently serving as a treasurer there. Give a round of applause to Chartered Accountant Vishwanath Goel. 2004 batch again of our high secondary school, a silent worker, very polite, always with a smiling face, active participant in the cultural activities, cleared his MCom, LLB, and in 2014, a company secretary. Worked with Zuari Agrochemicals Goa and IFPL Chennai. Presently working as a company secretary at Puts Mr. Concrete Machines Private Limited at Verna. Give a round of applause to company secretary Siddesh Sati. The student of 2007 batch of our high secondary school, diligent in her work, focused and confident. SP was her favorite subject in school. Cleared her company secretary in the year 2013. Was a member of Women Managing Committee of Goa Chapter, Institute of Company Secretaries India. Presently working as a company secretary and compliance officer in Sandu Pharmaceuticals Limited. Give a round of applause to company secretary Pratika Mamre. 2013 batch of our high secondary school. She had a passion for learning accountancy. She lived with it to make her dream come true. cleared her chartered accountancy exam in the year 2020, joined at Deloitte Huskins and Sales LLP. In March 2020, a leading global providers of audit assurance, consulting, financial and tax related services. Currently working as a deputy manager in the same firm. Give a big round of applause to Chartered Accountant C.R. Sushi. Felicities for accepting our invitation and attending this program. It is said that professions like CAs and company secretaries are important pillars of our economic growth of the nation. And Abdul Kalam had rightly said that they are they play important role in the nation building, and hence we teachers feel that we need to motivate more and more students to join such profession, attract towards such profession, and we look forward to your support and guidance in this regard. And as ex-students of our institutions, you may take an initiative, and once in a year you can visit our institutions to guide our students, and we can have chart out the program the way you feel, and we can go ahead. You can suggest some other career options also based on your experience, and we can pursue this matter, and I hope all of you will support for this cause. And once again, I congratulate you all for all your accomplishments, and I wish you all the best in all your future endeavors. Thank you, and I request one of the felicities to just come here, or any one of you can come here and just speak. Few words.
Madam, Principal Madam, my colleagues in the profession, and all my dear students. 1998 was the year I passed out from this. 25 years ago. Time flies. So looking back, it's been a great journey. Just a couple of points I'd like to say to all the students. First thing is believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing. Another important thing is, most of you, when you feel you are average students, I think there's a lot in you can go ahead and achieve. Most of us are average students who are sitting here. So believe in yourself and explore more and more new things which come up. You might have, I'll take just a couple of minutes on this. You might have seen the ad coming up on TV. Ye market sabka hai boss, up stocks. So what it means? Anyone can come and invest in the market, share market, all young people. It's not like that, you lose all your money. So explore, study, learn. What do these people do? They do equity research. Anyone has seen the program called Shark Tank? So what do? They come and offer you to 1%, 2%, so many crores. What it means? There's a business behind it, which is getting valued. So who does these valuations? Young people like you, some of them have become chartered accountant, some of them are finance professionals. So these are some of the new things. I just wanted to come here and tell you that we are not here for traditional things only. New things are coming up. Sir will be talking about, I think, digitalization of our profession, in our profession. So it's high time we learn new things. We should be adapt. We should explore. Now the world is at your, I can say, fingertips. So all I wanted to say, first of all, is believe in yourself. There is a lot to achieve. Once you are dedicated, you are ready to put in hard work, you can achieve a lot. Don't think you are just an average student. And second is, most important is, you have to stay with the times. Look at the new things, study, because old things will go away and the profession doesn't stay the way it is. What it was 25 years ago when we studied, teachers said our books are printed in 1995, I passed out in 1998. Most of the things may not be relevant today. Our curriculum, CA curriculum is also getting updated. So stay abreast. If you are abreast with the latest things, even if you do not have a qualification, you can do a great living for yourself. So that's all from my side. Thank you everyone.
Without any further delay, I now request Dr. Manoj government to share his views on his expertise in the area of advanced interest titled Digitalization of Trade and Commerce. Over to you, sir.
A very warm afternoon to all of you. Respected Principal Madam Mitra Walker, my dearest friend, my mentor and your dearest teacher of accounting and commerce, Madam Mrs. Churi, the dynamic students, the alumnus of this institute who have become professionals in life and respected caterpillars of change. I normally like to call my students as caterpillars of change because it is the matter of time when they will change their colors. It is a matter of time when they will change their shape. And it is a matter of time they will change the impact they are going to have on the society. What really I mean by saying this is every one of you who are within the portals of this institution are born with a potential to excel. However little the caterpillar may seem on that particular leaf or a flower, it appears off. But over the period of time, it only requires hope. It only requires trust in one's efforts to struggle. Because in the nature there are many others who are waiting to eat you, waiting to pounce on you. But the minute you have a dream, the minute you have a positive attitude that you are going to fight, you are going to survive, the survival of the fittest work. And finally the day comes when you have beautiful wings to the attitude you cherish. Finally a day comes when you try to fly, and when you try to move from flower to flower, from paradise to paradise, from gardens to gardens, showing your beauty, showing your presence, making difference to the world. And I was felicitating these young professionals of today. I was indeed privileged. Barry was telling me last Duluzulle, I said, it's an honor, it's a privilege. It's a privilege because at this young age, out of the struggle of their own and struggle of their parents, blessings of their parents, and of course their hard work, perseverance, they have reached to a stage where they are earning respect. Remember, this function is an unusual function because this is not an award-giving function. This is not a felicitation function as per se. Remember, the accolades what they have earned today, the certificates in their hand may seem petty in terms of what is given. But remember, there are emotions behind that. There is an expression of blessing behind it. And when there is an expression of blessing, expression of giving, expression of appreciation, I think no money can counter this. Many often people say that you need to burn midnight oil. You need to burn midnight oil in order to be successful. I say, no, it's not just oil. You need to burn yourself. It's not this oil. But you need to convert your blood and sweat and tears into oil, the fuel in you. Well, remember, becoming a chartered accountant requires tough hours of study, 7 to 8 hours minimum a day. And then at the end of the year, you realize that the results are out and not more than 4 to 5% of the students enrolling pass. It really requires courage to open the papers and to open the net and to see whether your numbers, whether you figure there. It's a cream of a profession. And the triple qualifications which are recognized in India, whether it's CA, ICWA or company secretary or the global professions who are trying to make inroads in the country. Sometimes you wonder how do people acquire three triple qualifications even before they complete their graduation. But here in Goa, yes, I've joined in higher secondary, I've joined college. Those months I will enjoy my life, and then let's celebrate college. Remember, life is a celebration. But life is a celebration only for an achiever. And if you are not an achiever, probably you will have to follow the crowd, you will have to catch the bus. And there is nobody has time and patience and emotions to value the kind of sacrifices you have made. Probably you have also made sacrifices. But unless it is fructified, so unless there is an action and there is fructification, in a sense that we have struggled, all of us struggle, all of us do. But then if there are no rewards for the struggle which are good enough for the society to recognize, nobody will value your struggle. So remember, out of those 20-25 tumultuous years, we have not more than 10 students. But these 10 students are today on their own feet. 10 students are employers. 10 students, the ex-students who are here, are the best of the best. And when the madam was reading their names and I was closely observing them, I realized three things. Probably you should have observed. None of them were sons and daughters of Dempo, Sargam, Monasa. That means all of them who have excelled in their lives are from common families where I and you come from. Common families. Number one, look at the poise. Look at the clairvoyance they are carrying. Look at their style. And remember, when I say style, it does not, your brand of the shirt and your watch and shoes doesn't signify your style quotient. Probably it may signify a dress quotient, which is no longer material. Materiality is a concept which you learn in accounting. Similarly here, in your life, which brand you wear will have little importance unless you try to be a brand by yourselves. Unless your name becomes a brand. Unless what kind of work you do becomes a brand. And then we just copy people. Because we have become good copycats. We have become good mothers. We like to study something by heart. But then it naturally does not come through the heart. Or it is on, off, by, off, heart. But then the kind of struggle these people have made, they are not from rich families, they are not from famous families, but they are from respectable families. And today they have earned more respect to their families than what their families have given. Point number one. Point number two, all the students who have been felicitated today, who have earned their respect today, is pure respect out of their own achievement. And it has not come hereditary. It has not been passed over from generation to generation. What probably is passed over from generation to generation is the family name, the caste, the surname, which has no value of its own. Because these are names which only recognizes us. But you will never get recognition only because you have a name. Recognition comes through your own self-fulfilling achievement. Is lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, that these people have made the best efforts in the given situation. As ma'am was saying, the syllabus hasn't changed from 1997 till date. I graduated in 97, my BCom. So which means probably you all are using the same textbooks which I did. But the difference lies here. There are some handful of people here, now a batch of 6 to 8 people, who have made extraordinary difference studying the same thing, but by doing it differently. Understand? There is a difference. You all are also studying the same syllabus, they are also studying the same syllabus. You have the same teacher, and they also have the same teacher, but what changed? What made the difference is their own efforts. The last thing probably which you have failed to recognize is, they were not just mothers, they were not just bookworms. But as madam was reading, she was saying that this person became a chartered accountant or became a company secretary and also did extraordinarily well in culture. There are people who did bhajan, who did music, who did drama, who did theatre, who did singing.
and yet they try to excel, meaning if there is an excellent person, he is excellent in all the fields of his life. So excellence becomes a virtue. It doesn't become an accident, it becomes a virtue which you want to follow with passion. Everybody wants to be excellent, and they did not stop. So my heartfelt appreciations to all of you. All these great souls, and of course your parents and great teachers. And all those institutions where you have studied in the past. Because today is the day you have earned them a lot. You have earned your parents a lot. And then when you go back and then you tell them that my school, my higher secondary school felicitated me, of course there is no special joy than when your own people, when your own teachers tell you and then respect you and then adore you. Probably this is a day which should come in life of each one of them. But remember, it is not going to walk towards you, you need to walk towards your goal. And you need to do something extraordinary. Friends, we share one commonality between all of us, because either we have studied economics or commerce or accounting, and then we are all commerce students. But then what commerce I studied and what commerce this young people studied, young pedigree of students studied, pedigree of professionals who studied, and the commerce which you are going to study in the future is drastically different. Of course, you will say, what is the difference? Because you say that you have and we all have studied the same textbooks from the same teacher, same school, same board. The difference lies in the approach. Earlier I remember when I was in 10th and 12th, Peter was just now saying that it was only engineering and medicine which were considered to be the best professions of the life. If you are good, you join science, and then if you are bad, you join arts, etc., etc. But currently, what is the trend all over the country? The best of the students join arts. And for that matter, the best and the best of the students join liberal arts. When I was studying in IIT Mumbai doing my PhD in finance, mathematical finance, I had a professor of philosophy. But he managed the administration network of IIT Bombay. The head of the Department of Computer Science was not given that privilege of managing the network backbone of IIT. Why? Because this person from philosophy was extraordinarily good at it. Extraordinarily good at it. I had one good teacher of quantitative finance for my doctoral studies, for my postdoctoral studies at Osmania and later at US. But when I checked his background, he had never studied commerce in his life. He was a professor of rocket science. And his specialization was fluid dynamics. Now if you ask me as a commerce guy, what does fluid dynamics mean and how does it work? I really do not know. But my professor of financial mathematics was exceptionally well and a qualified professor in fluid dynamics used in rocket science. What does it signify? It only signifies the extent of multidisciplinarity. Look at it. I studied commerce now, CS Zatma kare. Zauka parishram karche. And necessarily, that all people who will become chartered accountants will not be commerce graduates anymore, because now the trend is different. Very often, at least once a month, I go to Jamnalal Bajaj and Narsi Monji to teach the best business programs, their MBA programs in Mumbai. Always my admissions director, they remind us, the composition of batch changes. Those students who opt for MBA in finance today, 80% of the students have never studied commerce in their lives. What am I saying? MBA in finance, 80% of the students come from technical backgrounds. And then today we have the ex-director, the chairman, the earlier chairman of ICA, Mr. Agarwal the Great. He has started his own college in Jaipur, which I recently visited. And residential institution on Jaipur Mount Abu Road, where he just takes fresh 12th standard students, irrespective of their disciplines, arts, science, commerce, politics, it does not matter. And he transforms them into chartered accountants and also post-graduation in commerce within the period of 5 years by integrating internship in the curriculum. Of course, the new regulations of ICI says that you cannot be joining for 2 programs, but remember the UGC regulations, the new one says that a student can join for more than 2 programs at a time. And in order to circumvent this, what he did is he offers a distance education program of MS University in Jaipur, Mohanlal Sukhadiya University in Jaipur. But he coaches them for professional exams. And then what is the result? Result is 100%. Result is 100%. Then you say commerce education in Goa has been very easy, but it is only in Goa where it is. I wish today all of you have mobile phones. The minute you go home after this session, I want you to go to the news or just Google Sri Ram College of Commerce in Delhi. One of the best colleges in the country. Or Lady Sri Ram College in Delhi. And look at the cutoff percentage for getting admissions to BCom. You'll be surprised, out of the 300 seats which were open for the students all over the country for a BCom program, the cutoff was 100%. What am I saying? 100% cutoff. That means you got 99.9% in the general category. If you got 99.9% in your 12th standard, you will not get admissions to Sri Ram, SRC or Lady Sri Ram. That's the kind of competition. I told you just now that earlier there was a time that you could join commerce, now you really have to struggle to join commerce. And then you say it is because of reservations that 100% has been the cutoff. Then you should ask me what has been the cutoff for our reserve category students. It has been 98%. 98%. So this is the kind of competition probably you will have to face in the future. Remember, and all the students who get in here, who want to get into commerce education, have either studied mathematics in the 12th or either studied science in the 12th. The entire demography of commerce education is changing. So now we require a teacher who will have that confidence to get into the class to teach a student who has got secured 100% in that 12th standard exam. Problem is you don't get teachers. And therefore you see Sri Ram College and Lady Sri Ram College, or whether it is IIT, all the IITs in the country or all the IIMs in the country have rolling advertisements. What does that rolling advertisement mean? There is always a vacancy. There is always an open vacancy for teachers throughout the year. Many teachers come, many teachers go, but the selection rate is just 1 or 2%. So this is the kind of competition you are going to enter in next 1 year, next less than 6 months. 3 months? 3 months for your board exams. So after a 12th standard, if really we have to do a qualitative check here and ask you, what is your ambition or what you want to do? I'm not really sure how many of you have a concrete answer for my question. But today, if you ask any student who is studying 11th or 12th from CBSE or ICSE boards, even in the state of Goa, those students will tell you in which university they want to secure admissions, and that's the difference. Which universities in the world offers the best of specialization programs, and they will tell you this along with the cutoff dates. And that is the difference between we, the common, and the uncommon, the cream 10% students from commerce among you all will reach at the top. So even if my hall is free today, this audience is attentively listening to me, remember, not more than 2 to 3 students will be there at the top, and remaining all of us, unfortunately, after 10, 15 or 20 years, will only have to clap looking at them, saying that he is my student, he was my batchmate, or he was my classmate. But remember, the beauty, the joy would be in being the 20%, or being among those 5%. Another thing which I want to tell you at this particular time, because this is the time when your mind is ready to listen, ready to understand. Look at this. And really when your teachers or principal is projecting these 8 to 10 students, man, these are over last 20 years.
24. There are more, but
no, there are more. But what I'm trying to say, over last 20 to 30 years.
Yes.
Which means the remaining 90% of the students, we don't even remember their names. And that is in continuation what my friend Ishan was saying in the morning. People will only remember who stood first, who excelled, who did very well. But what about those nameless, countless people whom we will not even recognize when we cross them on the roads? Because here is talking about specializations and super specializations. It's called as post-qualification or post-professional qualifications. And normally all the accounting professions around the world, whether it is ACCA or CPA or CIMA or CMA, they already have specializations after their professional exams. And almost 80% of the students get into this kind of professional mode. Because in the world they have realized it no longer makes sense in the professional world just to be a compliance officer, just to look after income tax, just to look after your accounts, just to look after your statements. But then we would require more people who has an edge on digital transformation where you can really make a difference to the business in terms of process engineering. So unless there is an angle of the process re-engineered guy in you, just merely having a degree or just merely having a commerce graduation or post-graduation will no longer work. And normally I tell my students, I always give them an example of how the world has changed in the digital paradigm. From automation to digitalization to digital transformation. And normally if you ask commerce students, how do you distinguish? They will say, sir, it means the same. Automation and digitization, digitalization, digital transformation is what? Is spread of internet. It's technological disruption, but no, it is not. There are different terms, and understand, and we need to evaluate ourselves to see at what level of digital transformation do we fit. Remember, when I talk about automation, I am talking about the mundane clerical tasks being put on the systems. That's automation. And that's automation. And that's degree 1, the first order degree in the level of technological disruption. After automation comes digitization. What does digitization mean? The same data, the same processes, whatever you have already automated, you are converting it into an analog form as digitization. So digitization, according to me, is in second degree in the digital disruption. Still does not make sense. The third degree, which has a little relevance. So remember, what does that mean? That means your automation and digitization has no relevance in today's world. The third degree is digitalization. And by digitalization mean where you try to think of the utility or the social relevance of what you have already digitized. The impact, the outcomes. The outcomes what would be achieved. And remember, the highest degree today, I do not know about the degrees of the future, but the highest degree in digital disruption is digital transformation, where you will have the capability to use digital tools in order to restructure things, to reprocess things, to simplify things, and cut down costs, because that's the ultimate aim of any finance professional for that matter. So, when we are talking about digitizing or automation in commerce, I am talking about facts. I am talking about basic data. When I am talking about digitalization, I am talking about information. Converting this facts into information. But then we need not stop here. We are talking about knowledge creation. We are into the third point, or the zenith of digitalization. Creation of knowledge, and looking at how this created knowledge would cut down cost by re-engineering the organizations, which is called as a digital transformation. And remember, first two degrees are only talking about the clerical aspects or the automation aspect, but there is no originality. What counts really in digital, in the era of digital transformation, is how best you can bring in originality in your business performances. In other words, how do you restyle? How do you reorganize? And when I see all these changing paradigms from automation, digitization, digitalization to digital transformation, I see there are 6 to 7 new careers which are emerging into commerce, which were never talked about, because earlier, for years together, for centuries together, we only talked about accounting. Now we are talking about reporting. Now we are talking about segment reporting, but these are things of the past already. We are talking about audit compliances, auditing standards, but these are things of the past already. So what are the new things what the global professionals and commerce professionals are entering in? And remember, when I tell you the new professions of today, you will realize, my God, but this was never taught to us. But the beauty of the thing is, these things are never taught. What is it? The first, for instance, is cloud computing. Today, if you look at all those professionals who are into cloud computing, none of them are technological experts. But people come from multidisciplinary fields. And the recent CII programs which I attended, they were telling me, my IT friends, that in the future, cloud computing will only be done by finance professionals. Because the world has understood that your IT guy can only write a brilliant program. An error-free, a bug-free program, but he does not, he sense understand what is the logic or the theory behind that program. So digital computing, where you talk about storing and retrieving tons of data and putting it to universal use across different corners or use the different nodes, is an emerging profession of tomorrow. Now today, if you don't understand what you mean by cloud computing and cloud storage, probably you have not even started. The next level of complexity in commerce education is AI, your artificial intelligence. And by artificial intelligence, you mean using of robots, automation, and automation in the processes. Artificial intelligence, which was domain of computer engineers earlier, has been domain of psychologists now. Psychologists. We never even wondered, we never even thought that psychologists could be driving the field of artificial intelligence in the future, because for us, robotics only means technology. The third thing which is emerging is big data analysis, and there are already good programs where an MBA is offered in big data analysis, or an MCOM specialization comes in big data analysis, because that is data. Then how do you analyze? How do you make sense of this data? How do you create knowledge? We are not only talking about processing the data, we are talking about creation of knowledge from this data. The next one is AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, how you would perceive. And the AR and VR subject areas come from a class engineering concepts, which is called as ML, machine learning. Your CIMA, Chartered Institutes of Management Accountants, UK. Very soon, in next 6 months, is going to launch a global professionals and commerce professionals are entering in. And remember, when I tell you the new professions of today, you will realize, my God, but this was never taught to us. But the beauty of the thing is, these things are never taught. What is it? The first, for instance, is cloud computing. Today, if you look at all those professionals who are into cloud computing, none of them are technological experts. But people come from multidisciplinary fields. And the recent CII programs which I attended, they were telling me, my IT friends, that in the future, cloud computing will only be done by finance professionals. Because the world has understood that your IT guy can only write a brilliant program. An error-free, a bug-free program, but he does not, he sense understand what is the logic or the theory behind that program. So digital computing, where you talk about storing and retrieving tons of data and putting it to universal use across different corners or using the different nodes is an emerging profession of tomorrow. Now today, if you don't understand what you mean by cloud computing and cloud storage, probably you have not even started. The next level of complexity in commerce education is AI, your artificial intelligence. And by artificial intelligence, you mean using of robots, automation, and automation in the processes. Artificial intelligence, which was domain of computer engineers earlier, has been domain of psychologists now. Psychologists. We never even wondered, we never even thought that psychologists could be driving the field of artificial intelligence in the future, because for us, robotics only means technology. The third thing which is emerging is big data analysis, and there are already good programs where an MBA is offered in big data analysis, or an MCOM specialization comes in big data analysis, because there is data. Then how do you analyze? How do you make sense of this data? How do you create knowledge? We are not only talking about processing the data, we are talking about creation of knowledge from this data. The next one is AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, how you would perceive. And the AR and VR subject areas come from a class engineering concepts, which is called as ML, machine learning. Your CIMA, Chartered Institutes of Management Accountants, UK, very soon in next 6 months is going to launch a professional super specialization, post-qualification specialization in AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality in the realm of finance. So look at this. Look at in finance. The another next level profession would be called as predictive analysis. Now what does this predictive analysis would mean? Creating algorithms, normally used in stock trading. Complex algorithm where you would have a very, very little, your intervention would be very little, and the systems would manage your trades, your micro trading. If I talk about further complexity, it becomes a little more difficult. The next level of profession which has emerged in the area of commerce, finance, accounting is cognitive computing. Look at these words. Cognitive computing. What does cognitive computing mean? Capturing the thinking of people. And when I'm talking about thinking of people, I'm talking about financial decision making using systems. Now, if you have to replace human decision making in financial decisions by a system making decisions for you related to finance, crores of rupees, probably you will need a re-level, rethinking of a different level or a different order in your commerce education. The last one, of course, is one of the most popular and which is one of the most high-paid profession today within commerce, and that is blockchain and cryptos. When this blockchains and cryptos was introduced to us, we were told about complex level algorithms which needs to be broken down, which is decentralization of finance, which we call as DeFi, D-E-F-I, decentralization of finance. Today, the crypto gurus tell us that cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies is no longer the domain of technology people. Unless you get finance experts doing it, you will not be able to explore that new systems into day-to-day lives. Moral of the story is not to confuse. Moral of the story is we need to get into another level. We feel that having an iPhone in our hands will end up making us sophisticated. We feel that if we are able to create some memes or shoot some videos or very fluently transfer some data, mostly those memes and reels across, I am a techie guy. I am a cool guy. Remember that coolness has little value because you are only talking about basic things from a utility point of view, and please understand how things are changing. For a state like Goa to get into to have a college where the cutoff is 100% would take another 10 years. Of course, these things are coming. Because now I know about colleges whose cutoff for commerce is 85% for their graduation. So if you don't have 85, you don't get admissions. And now, for your information, you will be the lucky or the unlucky, I do not know, batch, for whom you want to take admissions for BA, BCom or BSc, any program, you will have to answer an All India competitive exam conducted by Goa University. Next year for you, if you want to get admissions into BA, BCom or BSc, you will have to write an entrance test. And no longer will be able to buy the prospectus and pay the fee and apply admission. No, you also will be the first batch in Goa. From last year onwards, all the universities across the country have already started common entrance examinations for admissions to university level. Moral of the story at the end of the day, it is better to practice than you preach. So more than you making sense from what Ishan has spoken or what Manoj Kamath has spoken, understand that your school, your higher secondary school has done one good thing, has shown you the practice before theory. So if you have not made sense about all those things which I was talking, the only takeaway you must take home is that today we have seen a group of extraordinary people for whom I have clapped, for whom all of you did. Now it is left to you, whether you either be Ishan, you either be a person who is standing before you, or either you be those people who are here. Now of course your order must be reversed, you either must be them or either must be me. The lower level. But what I am trying to tell you is, remember that there is a hero in all of you. And when I say there is a hero in all of you, don't look whether you resemble Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, etc. I do not know who are the best actors. And if you really want that hero within you, I did not say heroine within you, because it's understood. And if you really believe that there is a hero in you, understand you need to chart a journey of your life today. Because either you have not understood what I have spoken, and there is a great chance that you will not understand. But that should not stop you from at least understanding those things which I want you to understand. Because people have already got onto that particular bandwagon. Sometimes I feel that our students, or generally all of us in Goa, are still living 20 years back, than where India is moving. And very often I remember one small story which my grandmother used to tell me when I was small. There was a मनीस आशिल्लो जो रस्त्याचेर आपली आंगठी सोदता. आंगठी, मुदी. Is real. And he searched for the full day long, and then he was tired and desperate. He came home. His grandmother asked him, what were you searching so desperately? He said, मुझे आंगठी चाहिए. मुदी चाहिए. साव सोदता. सोदता बरं साव तुका मदत करता, पण ती खंय शेणल्या? And he searched for the full day long, and then he was tired and desperate. He came home. His grandmother asked him, what were you searching so desperately? He said, मुझे आंगठी चाहिए. मुदी चाहिए. साव सोदता. सोदता बरं साव तुका मदत करता, पण ती खंय शेणल्या तुका लक्षात आसा? हय तुका लागलो शेणल्या. ती कालूच शेणिल्ली, पण खंय शेणल्या? ती शेणल्या थंय पयस रानान. अरे तुझी मुदी जर रानान शेणल्या जाल्यार तूं आंगणान कित्याक सोदता? That was the question. All of us, or most of us, are like that man. आम्ही आमची मुदी सोदता, आमची आंगठी सोदतात आमच्या आंगणान, not realizing that we have forgotten it or lost it at some other place. We are in a different world of ours altogether. At this time, at this juncture, when your teachers, when your dynamic principal, and of course your esteemed teacher, Madam Julie, she has been the teacher of all of you over here, and I was really thankful for all the countless efforts what she has made. Not only she, particularly, but entire commerce and economics fraternity, the young and the new, whom I know and who have joined recently. I remember and I understand this higher secondary is doing exceptionally well in the madam's leadership in order to change students from caterpillars to butterflies. Remember, now it is up to you whether you understand it is no longer Dudsagar, it is elixir of life, amrut patta. And unless you try to accumulate, then you say, sir, मुझे तो accumulate करपाक आयदन ना जाल्यार भिजून घे. आयदन ना जाल्यार कपडे चिंब भिजून घे. तुमचे केस त्या उदकान भिजून घे. Understand? Take the fullest effort to take everything what you are in the higher secondary scheme. All the small events. Exhibition, what was the need to get the students and waste their time and their own time? And sometimes some of you may also feel, I'm so tired. So if you feel that probably you have not understood the value that what your higher secondary, what your great teachers are putting, they only want to show you role models so that you become one of them. So that after 10 years, 15 years, you don't curse that maka exposure is maka sanglet na. And remember all those new professions which I was talking, there is no, professional qualification to acquire any one of this. So where do you get it from? You get it from your own efforts. I told you about my professor in philosophy who was very good in IT. And how does that happen? Who taught him? Nothing can be taught apart from the basics. So the basics are all set right. Better for that entirely beautiful concept of this program. I really wish that all colleges also take such kind of programs. This is a program of a new level which is required. Because you and me as teachers constantly, as principals, constantly sermon students. But then you see, and even then, even when all these things are given and you don't see, and तरी तुम्ही म्हणले की दुसऱ्याला सगळ्यांना वाचा, पण I don't know. Uda korpak, understand? You still wear clothes. So drench yourself, go home, squeeze your clothes. You might get 1 or 2 drops of water. So remember, life is a journey. Commerce is a very, very beautiful field in which you have come. Something glamorous, something new where you can do. It gives you an exposure for different contexts, different programs. Of course, to explore technology as well. I believe you as mature students, at whom your parents have hoped and pinned their expectations. खूप जण आपल्या पोटात चिंता काढतात तुमच्या आई बापी तुमका स्कूलान धाडपाक, हायर सेकंडरी धाडपाक, कॉलेजीन धाडपाक. तांचो जर व्हॅल्यू खऱ्या अर्थान जर तुम्ही करताले, if you really would like to value them, if you really want to give something back to this teacher, back to Churi madam, back to Netrawalkar madam, understand that they are not expecting gifts at their age. They are only expecting that the students do well. I'm sure teachers, madam, Churi, I think this is a very, very befitting farewell party for you. Because your students said thank you with that utmost humility, saying that madam, you have really done something great. We were happy to be the part of this higher secondary. Remember, this is not an IIM, this is not an IIT, and this is neither Bombay, neither Delhi. In the city of Mapsa, all these efforts of this beautiful people, great people, your teachers are doing exceptionally beautiful work in the field of commerce and economics, specifically. Of course, they are doing in science as well, but then I do not know. Madam, to you, I wish you happy retired life. Thanks for coming in my life and also.
Thank you. On behalf of my school, Purushottam Arawalkar, and from principal, I am glad to be standing here to express my vote of thanks. A special thanks to our guest speaker, Dr. Manoj Kama, the principal of Malika Khanpur, for accepting our invitation and for being here with us today. We had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future years. Our keynote speaker, Advocate Ishan Uzapkar, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace this occasion. So, thank you also to Advocate Ishan sir. My special thanks to the felicitous ex-students of our higher secondary school, especially Vishwanath Bhove, C.R. Joshi, Ganpat Kapde, Prarthana Borkar, Gautam Narvekar, Vijayananda Malvekar,